Hello everyone and welcome back to the layout. Today we've got something a little out of my normal wheelhouse here. We're taking a look at the new ScaleTrains ES44AHs. These are 2 units decorated in a heritage scheme for CSX, the Chassis System 1973 and the Conrail 1976. Now a lot of you that know me know that I'm a 90s Conrail guy, so I'm not really hip to the more modern stuff. But I do have a bit of a soft spot for the heritage stuff, and I just think it's really neat and kind of want to scratch that more modern itch from time to time. So I picked up this pair of units, and today we're going to go ahead and take a look at them and just see what they're all about and see what the deal is here. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we take a look at the new ScaleTrains HO scale ES44AHs. Hello everyone and welcome back for another video here. This week we're taking a look at the ScaleTrains ES44AHs in the CSX Heritage Scheme, and we're going to go ahead and get these out of the box. I ordered these straight from ScaleTrains. As you guys can see there, Oreo is going to help us do some unboxing today. He always likes to help out and see what's in these boxes, so he's here to accompany us in this, and go ahead and get this popped open here. Now, ScaleTrains generally uses this paper deal in there. You put the whatever kind of paper packaging you want to call that. They put everything in there. Generally pretty secure. Never have any real issues with things being damaged or messed up, really. We'll go ahead and pull these out here. As you guys can see, I got 2 different heritage units here. And first one we're going to see here, we got our Chassis System Heritage Unit, 1973. And then we'll pull out our other one, which, of course, any of you that know the channel will know what this one's going to be, our Conrail Heritage Unit. And, I'm doing the unboxing here, and one of the other cats came over during this, and I figured I'd get her in here. Her name's Daisy. And, right when I turn the camera up to get her in, because I know you guys always like seeing the cats here, you'll see what she does here, of course. She's sniffing Oreos, but, anytime you go to get one of the cats in a video, it always seems to be what happens is one of the they always do something stupid. All right, let's go ahead and get our new ES44AH out of the box here. The typical ScaleTrains deal where you got the 2-piece box deal. Really like these. These are nice. I like how they put the locomotive picture on the end and stuff. That's always kind of neat. Makes things easier to find here. And we, of course, have our product manual, with all your, if you want to talk to them stuff, and a bunch of other things there. The usual, how to take it out of the box and stuff, how to store it, clean it, disassemble it. Little spiel there on the prototype. That's always nice for those of us that don't know much about this more modern stuff, which I'm one of those people. But, you got your old function chart. Probably going to need that. Cool picture there in the back. Everybody likes pictures. So underneath that, you got your foam, and then boom, there it is in our clamshell here. Now looking around, I don't see any little parts bags or anything. I think usually ScaleTrains always puts those up here in the top. So we'll go ahead and get this half the box out of the way here, but do a little shake test here. I don't hear anything floating around, so I think we'll be good to proceed here. Get this clamshell apart. It's a bit tighter than they usually are. Usually they got a little more play in there. Got our extra bearing caps, because you know those are going to go flying everywhere eventually. And all right, look at the greatness of this here, guys. The plastic actually stayed inside the actual plastic. That's kind of nice. Now with these ScaleTrains models, you got to be kind of careful, because they put these little truck holder deals in the bottom there, and a lot of times those will stick in the truck. So nice to see that they actually popped out. Kind of impressed here with this packaging this time, how that plastic sheath there stayed in the top. That's nice. Didn't fall out everywhere. Of course, we got our little foam. Try not to destroy the handrail pieces here. If we can get those to come out without knocking something off, because that's usually what happens. Go ahead and a little tough to get that one out. Get that one, and hopefully this one should pop up. But all right, there we go. I'll go ahead and I'll get the chassis system one to the point where we're taking out a clamshell, so you guys could watch that one come out as well here. All right, so we're live here, opening up our chassis unit, and happened to notice that guy there. I don't hear anything else rattling around in there at all. So hopefully that's just, that looks like a sanding hose there. Probably come loose at some point. So I'm gonna try and get this to not fly somewhere. Get that out like that. And what I'm gonna do, because I don't want to lose this, I'm going to take this piece here and we're just going to put it in our old little bag for our little bearing caps there. And that way, until I have time to actually glue this back on, it's safe. I won't lose it. That's kind of the more important thing when it's all said and done here. Let's go ahead and let's see if we can get this deal to pop out. It did. Get our handrail foam deals out. Hopefully with not popping our handrails off. Comment down below if you guys ever have trouble with these stupid things. For me, for some reason, they always seem to want to hang up on something or knock a grab iron off or just something. It's always something with these. I get why they're in there. You know, they do keep the handrails nice and crisp and straight and such, but for some reason, it just must be my luck. They always like to knock the handrails half off when I'm taking a model out. So let me go ahead and get these set up and reset the camera here, and let's take a close look at these. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to start off with our Conrail Heritage unit here, CSX 1976, and we're just going to start off here in the front and kind of just take a look at all the details on this unit. I'm going to go ahead and put a little disclaimer in here. I am not a modern modeler in the slightest. I generally model the late 90s Conrail and a little bit of CSX, Southern Pacific, etc. But I don't really know a lot about these new wide cab GEs, so this is more of a like look at the details kind of things. What we're going to do here, I'm not going to be nitpicking things that I don't know anything about. So we're just going to take a look at the details and see how crisp and see how good everything looks, and we'll go from there. But we're going to start off with our Conrail unit here. And, you know, typical ScaleTrains, the plow looks great, all the little MU hoses down here. Everything looks pretty good. You got your metal ScaleTrains coupler, you know, it's got the little spring in there, so it springs. Ditch lights look really nice. We'll have to see how they light up when we get to that point. It does look like there's actually LED right behind the lens there. Let me see if that'll show up there. There's your
LEDs are back right behind the lens. Our handrails look pretty nice. Don't seem too cheesy or chintzy. You know, you got your coupler cut bar and all the other stuff down here, but you know, it looks pretty good. Not too shabby. The grab irons look really good as well here. Those are pretty crisp looking. It also looks like our handrails really, the color of our handrails really does match this yellow, this like golden yellow here on the front as well. It's not off or anything like what you might see on some models. Got the see-through steps over here, if those will kind of show up there. Those look pretty crisp and good. Move up here towards the top. You got your noses painted black. It's going to not look black because of the lighting, but it's painted black. Got your full cab interior, looks pretty good. Number boards, wiper blades, all that fun jazz. And then up here on the top, we got all this PTC stuff. It's all on there. I don't know what the array is supposed to look like or anything, but it does look pretty good. So let's go ahead and we're going to move over here to our side here. Kind of take a look at some of our truck detail here. We got the new brown painted wheels that ScaleTrains recently started doing. I really like that they do that. That is awesome because it's one less thing we have to mess with when we go to weather stuff. And you got all your little detail here on the truck itself. You got all sorts of little piping and stuff, a little bell deal there, little ground light deal. Everything looks pretty sharp.
All right, quick note here from the future. These also have spinning bearing caps. I forgot to mention that here when we were looking at these trucks.
When we come up here to the cab, you'd probably see that the cab does have like a tint to the windows. It's not like extreme, but it is there. You can still see through it, but it's not completely clear either. So that's kind of nice to see that. Then we come back here, you know, you got your grab irons on the side, and all these grills and stuff really look nice on these models. It's very impressive stuff. As part of the reason I picked one of these up is these new units are really sharp. Now we're going to take a quick look here at the roof. You guys can kind of tell there right along the top here, we got a little bit of this difference in the paint here. I believe that's like an anti-slip paint they use for going down the center of the locomotives. That looks pretty nice. Got some kind of horn. Not even going to pretend to know that I know what kind of horn that is, but it's whatever kind of horn CSX uses these days. You got an exhaust stack that you can actually see right down and through. Got some fan deals back here. Those look pretty good. And a really nice metal etched grating deal back here in the back for the radiator fan. That looks very sharp. Now, as we look at the side here, you kind of see... I kind of like how the decal looks on here. This is like whatever their pad printing. Whatever way they do this, it looks nice because you get those seams in between the doors like what you would see on the real unit. It's not just a flat deal going across there, so that's nice. That looks good. All the like decals look really sharp. The only one that looks a little bit wonky, I'll say, is this one right up here in the front. It just, I mean, when you're dealing with something that's small, I don't think you could ever make that legible, no matter how hard you try. I just feel like a decal that small, you're never going to make look like anything other than a blob. You know, this one here looks pretty dang good, but I doubt you'd be able to read that. And if you were able to read that, well, that's impressive because I don't know how in the world you'd ever read that. Now we come back here to our rear area here. If I get that to focus. We've got all these see-through grading deals back here. You could like see right through the whole dang thing. It's pretty cool. There's like the little brace deals. I remember when these came out, everybody was all excitable about how you could see bracing and stuff through the grading, and I could see why. It's pretty dang cool looking. All right, come over here to our rear, and we'll take a look here at the back end of this thing. Again, got your MU hoses, whatever hose this is, I don't know. Got an airline hose, got your other hose up here, and then all your little receptacles, etc. The spare knuckles look pretty nice on here as well, so those look pretty sharp. And of course, more of the same here on our engineer's side. Again, just all the little decals and stuff. Got this chain deal back here that's completely and totally molded plastic. I don't know how I feel about that. It's one of those things where I like that it's the right size because it's plastic, whereas like an actual like metal chain like what Athearn would use would be oversized. But I swear on my life, I feel like that's something I'm going to break right off. You know, like this thing's going to derail and I'm going to go to pick it up like this to put it back on the track and I'm going to snap that right off. But either way, it's there for now, so that's cool. Up here again, we could see some more see-through grills where you could see inside, which those again look really, really nice. Just all the little decals and stuff, and our wonky looking Conrail logo, just like the real one. I'll give you my 2 cents on that later on in this video, but overall, really, really sharp locomotive. Really, really nice looking. I don't notice anything broken or missing, at least on this Conrail one. Everything looks good. We'll check out the chassis one here in a minute, but you guys tell me what you think down in the comments below, what you think of how this unit turned out. I think it's really, really nice. All right, so for our chassis system unit here, this is just more of the same. Everything really, really looks nice on this, so we're just going to kind of take a look at the actual paint scheme on this one a little bit more, and take a look at the chassis logo on the side, and just the colors overall. It really does look sharp. I will note that it's going to be kind of hard to tell on the video, but like this blue and the blue up here are definitely different. I know it might not look like that on the camera, but they are. There's definitely a big difference in there. This is more of like a purplish tone to it, whereas this is more like a turquoise kind of deal going on. But overall, really, really sharp in this chassis scheme. And other than that sanding line that I found floating around in the box when I first opened this up, I don't see anything missing or broken or damaged on this. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at our wheel gauge and all the fun stuff here. All right, so starting with our 1976, our Conrail unit here, let's go ahead and let's start checking this here out. We got engage. We've got engage and engage, much like I would expect from something from ScaleTrains here. And again, engage, engage, and engage. Now, one thing I would like to note here, one of my old pet peeves here, if you guys can see, you got some of this truck lube coming out the bottom. That always drives me crazy when you get a brand new locomotive and it's got that stuff oozing out of it. Just because it tends to get into the plastic shell, like clamshell deal, and it'll leak out places. So I hate it when they overfill that. I mean, I'd rather have it well lubricated than have it grinding or doing goofy things, but it's still disappointing to just have that stuff floating around like that. So a little bit of a bummer there, but these all wheels are looking good as well. Let's go ahead and we'll grab a weight on these units. All right, so we got our kitchen scale here. It's zeroed out, and we'll go ahead and do our Conrail unit. Here's 23.14 ounces. Need milliliter. It's 0.656 kilograms, I think that is. 1 pound, what was it, 1.7.14, that's interesting. 1.446 pounds, 656 grams. 23.14 ounces on the Conrail one. Let's see what the CSX one weighs, because I always find it interesting when these weigh different things. So let's see what we got here. 23.14 ounces, so about the same. That's a good deal there. So let's head over and let's check out our coupler height and our other stuff here and give these a little test run. All right, so we're over here on the layout. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our coupler height here. And we're going to start off with our 1976, our Conrail unit here. We'll go ahead and we'll move our height gauge over, and that is right on the money there, right where it needs to be. It looks a little bit off on the camera from what you guys are seeing. It might look a hair low, but that might just have to do with how my camera's sitting here. It might not be catching it perfectly straight on the side. It's kind of hard to do that here when you're doing something like this on the layout, but it's kind of the way it goes here. And again, here on our rear coupler, again, we look pretty much centered, right where we want to be there. So our Conrail unit's good. Let's go ahead and let's bring in our chassis unit here and see what we get. And again, right on the money there. Good to go right on the front. And for our rear end here, now see our rear coupler, hopefully that'll show up there a little bit. Our rear coupler is a little bit low there on our chassis unit. That's kind of strange. That's always what's interesting about when you get locomotives from the same run and some have issues and some don't. And here, our chassis unit coupler's a little bit low on the rear, but our Conrail one was not. So let's go ahead and next we're going to take a look at some of our lighting functions here and look at all the fancy stuff like that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at some of our lighting functions here. We're going to go ahead and start off with our headlight here. As you guys can see, there it is. Really good and bright. Looks about the same in real life as in the camera. Maybe it's a hair dimmer in real life, but I still think it looks great. It isn't anything I would mess with having to redo. And if you guys will notice back here on our chassis unit, I have the rear light on that one on so you guys can kind of see without having to move everything around here. F6 is going to turn on our ditch lights here. And again, really, really nice looking ditch lights. The only one thing I will note here is the ditch lights seem to have a little bit more of a golden hue to them than the headlight when you look at it straight on. The headlight, when you look at it straight on, kind of has a little bit more of like a whitish blue to it, and the ditch lights seem to have a little bit of the more of a golden amber kind of glow. And of course they flash with the horn here. There we go. I gotta wait for the bell to shut up here. And to see the rest of our lights here, I'm gonna have to start this unit up here. So let's go ahead and fire her up. So you can see our number board lights come on here, as well as there is a ground light right here underneath the cab, which probably isn't going to show up too well on camera, but it's actually pretty decently bright. And you also have the little walkway light up here in the very, very front down there below the headlight. That also looks very good. So that's going to do it for all of our lighting stuff here. Let's go ahead and check out some of the sound functions here on this unit. Alright, so before we fire this unit up and hear what it sounds like notching up a little bit here, I want to go ahead and just start off with the bell on F1. If I can get that here, where'd it go? And we have our horn on F2. So that horn there has a little bit of a, has an automatic bell for a grade crossing there. Our coupler clank is on F3. Or maybe it's not, that might be handbrake. Interesting. Very, very interesting. So let's go ahead and let's fire this unit up using F8 here, and then I'll use the drive hold feature F9 to notch this unit up. Alright, so that was our unit notched all the way up there, pretty much all the way up to full throttle there, just to kind of run it through. Overall, the ESU sound does sound pretty good. I think it could be turned down a hair because it sounds like it's overpowering the speaker just a touch, in my honest opinion. But otherwise, I think it does sound really good. A good and crisp sound there. So before we go ahead and run these around the layout a little bit, we're going to go ahead and we're just going to see how this unit moves and shakes a little bit here. We're just going to see how loud it is without sound, just running on just DCC power here. All right, so very, very quiet, just a little bit of motor hum there, exactly what pretty much every ScaleTrains unit I've ever gotten's been like. Very, very quiet. Really, the only major noise you hear is the wheels on the rail. So very, very good as far as that's concerned. So let's go ahead and let's get this into a train here. We're going to pull some cars and run around the layout a little bit. We'll run both of them, see how they run together. And then we're going to head over to the workbench where I'm going to go ahead and take the shell off this and kind of dive into the guts of it and see how everything's put together, and just kind of see what the deal is inside these for if somebody wanted to add lights or do any of their own work on them. All right, so we're over here at our workbench. We're going to go ahead and try to take the shell off this unit here and see what the inner workings looks like, mainly for curiosity's sake, as well as I'm sure at some point somebody's going to need to get into one of these, and any of you that watch this could remember that, hey, that guy, that CR Steve guy, already opened one of these up. So if you're concerned about doing this kind of thing, ScaleTrains does provide directions on how to open these up. As you guys can tell, though, I don't believe in using directions because, well, I mean, what fun is that? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this the old-fashioned way. And most of these ScaleTrains units are all the same. You just pull the coupler boxes out and the shell comes right off. Now, today, it looks like these little screws are going to fight with me because they look a little bit smaller than the ones ScaleTrains usually use. Usually, I don't have any trouble getting these out here. So, of course, today's going to be the day I got to try and find a screwdriver bit I can't find. Get out the old Pittsburgh Pro. You know, we're not pros here, but we're going to pretend to be in this instance and see if I could find one that'll fit in that deal there. And for any of you out there that are do any real work on your locomotives or freight cars or anything, you could get these at Harbor Freight. They're very, very handy. They have all the different different sizes you could change out here. They're very, very useful. I've got, I think, 2 or 3 sets of them now. I keep one in the layout, and then I got 2 over here at the workbench because you guys know how things tend to go missing sometimes. And That tends to be a problem from time to time. And I always like to try to take the coupler boxes out in one piece and try to keep everything together if I can there. And put our little screw back through there. That way we don't lose that or it goes flying anywhere, because you don't want to have that going anywhere. That'd be no good. And the same process here with the front. I go ahead and pull that front screw out. And then in theory, our coupler box should, or well, no, our shell should come right off here. It's just a matter of whether it does or not. I don't know. We're going to find out if this screw will want to come out. It's always a fun part. It feels like you get the screw loose enough and then it hangs up on something. Sometimes they like to thread into the coupler boxes, and I don't like it when they do that, because then you try to pull them off and they go somewhere and you can't find them. It's no good. But anywho, your little screw and coupler box assembly. I guess this one's gonna thread together. That's strange. But that looks like a little bit smaller screw head than what I'm used to seeing there. So maybe ScaleTrains said something, changed something. So now it should be as simple as just kind of doing a little wiggle waggle, and it should come right off. One of my favorite things about these ScaleTrains units, they do that. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with our motor drive assembly here first. And looks like there we got our ground lights are in there like so. As you see, there's this big giant weight in here. That's why these ScaleTrains locomotives weigh so much. They have a lot of frame weight going on here. Looks like the typical board deal they do. The keep alive resistors are actually right underneath here. If I can get that to show up on the side, right there and there. And they actually have little holes down the frame where they sit. But this is the typical ScaleTrains rivet counter board they use in everything. There are different auxiliaries here, like you see red and green. Those are for like locomotives with class lights, but you can use those to add auxiliary lighting should you want to add like step lights or something. All that's in there, so that's nice. We come back here to our back. Here's our whatever thingy that you can see through the radiators back there. And then our speakers are right up underneath here. So I will say this, if you guys want to upgrade or change your speaker, which I don't really know why you would, these ScaleTrains sugar cubes are generally pretty good. You have to take this whole weight off, this single piece. It's a big single piece frame. You got to undo a bunch of wiring. And there's, I believe, 2 screws. There's one there and then one up front on the opposite side. But the speakers are right back up in there. But otherwise, it looks like our rear light's mounted right there. Our walkway light. Looks like it's got the deal here too for the ditch light units that have ditch lights on the rear as well. So that's interesting. And another one of our walkway lights, ground light. And then you can also see up here, it looks like, that would be our number board lights, and our headlight are piped in there. And then you got your walkway lights right back there. And your ditch lights are in fact mounted in the shell, and ScaleTrains does the contact pad deal. So kind of neat to, I always like to just take a look at all this stuff, because kind of like to see how you could add lights or do anything differently or add anything. So you can kind of look up in there, you could see our little headlight pipe deal there. Well, it's not really a pipe, but it's the lens that goes through. And looks like if you wanted to add step lights, like there'd be enough room to sneak it around, or even, I wonder if there's a way you could use that contact pad somehow if you pulled this apart. But to do that, you'd have to pull the sill off, and there's screws that are hidden that are all kind of challenging to get to, but otherwise pretty bare bones in here. Your typical, model train shell. But again, if you wanted to add more lighting, it's always kind of good to take a look in here and see how this stuff's done. Or if you didn't like, I think I mentioned during the actual review here that the headlight and the ditch light were different colors. It looks like there'd be plenty of room that if you wanted to swap this out to a hard-mounted LED as opposed to having it piped through the shell, you could probably do that. just be a little work, you just gotta be able to work around that stuff. But overall, the typical scale trains deal here. I'm gonna go ahead and put the shell back on now, and I'll go ahead and kind of talk you guys through what I thought of this locomotive, and I'll even give you guys a little 2 cents on what my thoughts are on the whole CSX Heritage program and all that as well, because it's the internet and everybody likes to give their opinion. So I figure I'll go ahead and give mine too. So stay tuned for that.
All right, so in the background here, I'm putting the show back, and I'll go ahead and talk about what I think of these models here. And overall, I was really, really impressed with this scale trains units here. These two units were really, really nicely done. I'm happy with how well they're put together and how well they look. Really, really, really cool. You know, uh, I've always wanted to kind of mess around with some of this more modern stuff a little bit, but I could just never really justify spending the money on, modern stuff that I um, don't have the passion for like I do with the older Conrail stuff, etc. And these heritage units to me are kind of an opportunity to get to check out some of this newer modern locomotives and kind of mess around with all that. So it's really cool to me that CSX did these, and so did NS with their heritage program as well. But that Scale Trains did these so that we can, so it gives us guys that kind of model the past a little bit more of a chance to kind of check out some of the newer stuff as well. So really, really cool. Very, very nice model. I have zero complaints with these. Overall, just really, really nice. Um, I'm going to go ahead here and you guys are watching me put the shell back on and put this back in the box here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at some pictures. I'm going to kind of tell you guys my like whole thought on the way CSX did their heritage program and what I like, what I don't like, and what I would have done if I would have had control over that. So let's go ahead and I'll go ahead and give you guys my 2 cents on that now. All right, so overall, guys, I think the CSX Heritage Program's pretty freaking cool. Really, really cool to see something with Conrail quality as far as a heritage unit goes. But there are some things that I don't really care for personally. Um, I understand what they're going for with the whole like having the front half of the locomotive be, CSX paint and the back half be the heritage paint, but I just think there could have been something cooler done if they wanted to go that route, such as one you're going to be seeing here right now, doing like the yellow patch nose with the CSX logo, but leaving the rest of the locomotive in the heritage scheme. I think would have been a really neat concept that would have been different. I know it probably some of you are probably going, "Oh, that's terrible," but I think that would have been a neat concept to do to just have that yellow CSX nose with the heritage scheme. I think that would have looked really sharp in my opinion, a little bit more sharp than the weird, like the front half is CSX and the back half is another thing. Just looks kind of odd to me, but that's just my opinion on. All right, so my other big beef, I'm sure no one's going to be surprised by this, and probably a lot of the Conrail guys will probably agree here, and probably just don't want to be one of them people on the internet griping about it. But I cannot for the life of me understand why they did the Conrail logo the way they did. It just looks so terrible. Um, I don't know how like it just looks cartoonish almost how like distorted it is compared to what the classic Conrail quality logo used to look like. I That's the one thing I didn't quite get with these CSX units is they all seem to have this common issue of just some of the logos just are like, what in the world are you doing? I understand you're trying to make it fit on a locomotive it wasn't designed for, but I mean, at least try to keep it somewhat proportionally correct because that was my biggest pet peeve when I saw this. Is I almost thought it was like somebody's cartoon Photoshop of a CSX Heritage unit, and then I found out it was real. Now, nevertheless, it's still again. I'm glad to see the quality logo on something again. I just personally wish they would have done it a little bit more at a normal size. Of course, you guys comment down below what you think on that. I'm sure I'm not alone in this thought. Now we're going to talk about the chassis unit as well here. All right, so now I got the comparison on the chassis units here to kind of look at what they used to look like versus what CSX thinks they looked like. And again, to me, it's kind of cartoony how they did some of this stuff, and I just don't understand why they made the logo so small on the chassis heritage unit. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. To me, it almost looks like there's still some bitter B&O guys running CSX now, and hey, we can't have that chassis logo too big. That's almost what it feels like to me. But I just found it strange how like the Conrail one, it's like distorted in a big way that's odd, and then the chassis unit, it's very small, like extremely small compared to what the locomotives used to actually have um, back when they were chassis was still operating. So that's just my 2 cents on the CSX Heritage units, guys. Again, I'm still thankful we have something. I think it's still cool. It's something for me to look for, even though I don't really rail fan today. Just something else to keep an eye out for when I'm out and about. And I'm glad they did it. I just can't for the life of me figure out why they did the artwork so goofy on them. It just seems kind of it almost seems like they're playing a joke on today's rail fans or something. I don't know. You guys put down in the comments what you think of these different heritage units, etc. But as always, guys, I'm Conrail Steve, and I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.